Hello there, thrill seekers. Sorry about the hat. My hair did some weird stuff during the night, so if I take it off, it would be frightening. So I just put this on. Before I start today's episode, I want to do a little show and tell. This is something I have an office, which I rarely go to, and I mostly just kind of keep things there. But one of these days, I'm going to start going to it and keeping like office hours, so I'll let you know if that ever happens. This is something I found in my office, though, when I was looking for something else. It says Dogen Sangha Kechimyaku, in case you can't read that. And up here it says Bene, which is my Dharma name. This is something I received from Nishijima Roshi when I did Dharma transmission with him, and it is a list of all the Buddhas and ancestors leading up to little old me. So this is the whole list, and there I am right there. And this is a kind of a weird thing they do in the Zen sect of Buddhism. I don't know if it goes for everybody, but it starts off with Shakyamuni Buddha right here and goes to Mahakashapa and kind of goes on down the line of all the Buddhas and ancestors in this red line. And this one is... Who the heck is that one? I don't know who the one in the middle is. I'll have to try to figure that out. Okay, I just went on the internet and checked that name out because I wasn't absolutely sure I was reading right, but I was. Daikan Eno, so that's Huineng right there in the middle. I'm not sure why Huineng gets the place of pride right there. Maybe somebody can tell me. The thing that confused me is I was going, oh, maybe that's Dogen, and I'm reading that going, no, it's not Dogen. So it's Huineng right there. Anyway, it goes down, and then little old me in there with a little stamp. I believe that's my teacher's stamp to show that he approved me, and then a whole thing about when and how I received the Dharma from him. There you go. Kind of neat. I'd forgotten about this. Forgotten I had that. Better keep it safe, huh? So, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about bad thoughts. Somebody put a comment on one of my earlier videos that I think I misunderstood the comment because we've had some follow-up emails, but the way he phrased it made it sound like he thought that in the video I had said that I wished for the death of one of my parents, I guess my mom, and how to deal with that sort of thing. And I gave an answer based on that, but I think I misunderstood him. But even though I misunderstood him, I think this is a good thing. Just to be clear, I didn't wish for the death of my mother, not in the sense that I thought he was asking. Anyway, when my mom was very, very, very sick, I realized that probably death would be a blessing to her. So in that sense, but I think he was talking more about an angry sort of sense where one would wish on the death of the parent. Actually, he wasn't thinking of that. That's what I thought he was thinking. Anyway, the point is, we all have some really unsavory thoughts in our minds, all of us, and that's okay. that's the point I want to try to make. So if you want to just finish with the video, there you go. That's my point. But let me see if I can explain why I want to talk about this. When one practices a lot of zazen, it gets you get kind of deep into what's in your mind. This especially can come up during a retreat where you're sitting long periods over and over and over again, and the mind tends to... It's a bit like rummaging around in an attic after a while, if you, or a storage room, like I was rummaging around in my office there, a place you haven't been for a long time, and looking at all the stuff that you put in there. That's what happens in the mind during a long period of zazen. As I say, it could happen during a retreat, or it could happen just sitting every day, for half an hour for many, many days, over years, you're going to get into this. It won't normally happen to somebody just starting out in the practice, but once you've gone deeper, or if you decide to jump right into something like, I see these people who've never sat a bit of meditation in their life just suddenly decide to do a 10-day retreat, which I think is something I would not advise. I would say start slower than that. Don't jump into the 10-day retreat or the 7-day retreat or even the 3-day retreat. Do some zazen on your own for months or even years before you do that would be my advice, but there you go. But anyway, in those sort of long periods of meditation where what happens is you kind of get bored, and this is the fact that the regular thoughts that you have in your head are no longer that attractive because you've just thought all that stuff before and you've had enough of it, and so one tends to kind of go deeper and deeper, and as I say, like rummaging around in an attic. And in that attic, you will find things that you put there that you don't remember putting there, that you probably put there because you didn't want to see them anymore. And maybe you don't even know why you kept them. I mean, that's the way thought works. So there's a lot of stuff in your head, and it'll start kind of coming out. It'll be brought to light, and you'll start noticing it. And a lot of the things one tends to notice are unsavory things. This is part of this is what's often called the dark night of the soul. Makyo is the term in Japanese, which means the world of demons. It's something that happens once you get deeper enough into meditation. You start to see all your stuff. So what do you do about that? Well, for one thing, if you're doing a practice like Zazen, the instruction is to stay still. Don't stir. I think I mentioned this in my talk on Yuibutsu Yobutsu, the podcast I've been doing. So go listen to my podcast. It's called Hardcore Zen, the podcast, or the Hardcore Zen podcast. Anyway, look up Hardcore Zen under podcasts, wherever you look up podcasts, and you'll find me talking about this stuff. Dogen's advice is don't stir. Let whatever comes come. Don't stir. Stay still. Sit with it. That's the first instruction. But a lot of this stuff one tends to, or let me just phrase it in terms of me. I've been doing this as a little technique. I found out that if I talk and say, you do this, you think of this, you do that, there's always a certain person, I don't know, not a single person, but there's a certain type of person who hears that and thinks I'm addressing them personally and going, you do that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say me. So what happened to me when those things happened is I saw some of those unsavory thoughts and went, oh my God, I am having unsavory thoughts. I have unsavory thoughts. I have unsavory desires. And that's bad. Therefore, I must be a bad person because I thought of XYZ. Your unsavory thoughts will be somewhat different from my unsavory thoughts, and there's no point in me telling you what specifics my unsavory thoughts went to, because then that just adds fuel to people going, you're a bad person, and I don't need that in my life. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you got it in there. So one tends to think, oh, I am having bad thoughts, or I have bad thoughts. So there is an I, this thing that you think you are, the thing that I think I am, and within that thing is bad thoughts, bad desires. But that's not true. It's not true at all. The thoughts and desires you have don't belong to you. My thoughts and my desires, let's phrase it that way, don't belong to me, because there is no me for those thoughts and desires to belong to. Now, it tends to take most of us a longer time to get to that point. It took me years, maybe a decade, to finally get to the point where I truly understood that there is no me having those thoughts. But you can understand it intellectually long before you understand it sort of viscerally, like in your bones. And that's why the Buddhist philosophy exists, and that's why we keep saying things. People like me keep saying things like, there's no you to have those thoughts. There is no you to have those thoughts. One of the things I see going on culturally these days, and I probably shouldn't even say this because everybody gets mad, but I'll say it anyway, is I think a lot of people may be getting deeply into their own thoughts and ideas and seeing these unsavory thoughts and thinking that you should purge them. You know, that the thing to do is purge them. And the specific example I'm thinking of, it would be like racism. You know, I mean, I think that's a good example of it, because I saw that kind of stuff come up in me, not only that, of course, and that wasn't even the worst of it, but you know, you're rummaging down around in the basement or attic of your thoughts, and you see racism coming up there, and you go, oh my God, I'm a racist. That would be one example of it. But you're probably not a racist. I mean, maybe you are. I don't know. I don't know you. But you're probably not. It's probably just one of the many things that's gone into your mind in the past, and it's just in there. You've heard somebody say something, you've seen something, you've had an opinion about something, and it just kind of goes in there, and then one day it pops out and you go, oh my God. And the idea among a lot of people I see on the internets today seems to be like, we must all purge ourselves of these thoughts so that we don't have them anymore. Well, you can't do that. You know, it's what my teacher called love and hate. Love and hate are always there, and you have a certain amount of hate. And your existence is based on a certain amount of hate. And when I say hate, I don't mean hate in the sense of hate crimes or that kind of hate. It is a kind of rejection, you know, trying to reject aspects of yourself and of the world. That's hate. So you have all that hate, and it gets directed in different things. And real racism, if we want to go there, is a misdirection of that basic primordial hate. You know, it's objectifying it in a certain race and saying, if only there weren't any more of those people, then my hate would be gone. Well, no, that's not true. It doesn't work that way. You know, that's one of the reasons racism is stupid, because even if you followed it to its logical conclusions, you'd still just end up finding somebody else to hate. You know, so it doesn't work. You have a certain amount of hate within you. And how do you exist with hate? That is the question. How do you exist with your own hate? One of the solutions, like I said like 3 times already, is you try to eradicate it. But eradicating it just isn't going to happen. You know, you're never going to eradicate it, because it's kind of the basis for your individuality exists in this rejection of the other. You know, whatever the other is personified as, you know, it doesn't matter. It's just that rejection of it. Even if you personify the other as those racists, even if you got rid of all those racists, you know, it's still not going to make you happy, because you're going to have to find somebody else to hate. So all of that is futile. The only thing I've found that works is to let it exist, let it be there, and don't respond to it. And realize, this is in myself, I've realized that, okay, those thoughts are in there, or there's ideas and whatever, you know, junk that got, you know, stuffed into my head from my upbringing and all the other, you know, the people around me and the people on TV and whatnot, you know, it's all in there. But I thought to myself, well, I haven't responded to it yet, and I don't feel that there's any real danger that in the future I'm going to respond to that in some bad way, you know, some hurtful or horrible way. So what I can do is let it be and not respond to it. That's the only thing I've found that was useful to do with bad thoughts. Don't give them any more energy is the thing. And you give them energy by responding to them and building a persona based on them. Yeah, sure, you do that, but you also give them energy by going, I gotta stop, I gotta stop, I gotta stop, I gotta stop. You're just giving that more fuel. That's just adding more fuel to the same thought and making it stronger. So the only thing to do is to just let it be there and realize that, like every other thought that you've ever had, like the thought I'm having now that those oranges look juicy, or my father-in-law grows oranges. See, and the tree is really blooming right now with oranges. So my random thoughts about those oranges will go away, and in 10 minutes I won't even remember that I had a thought about it. Well, I'll remember that I had a thought about oranges because in 10 minutes I'll be editing this video. But in general, they'll just pass. Every thought just passes. So whatever thought, even if it's the worst thought in the world, it'll pass. If you don't give it any more energy. That's the only thing I have found that works for me in Zazen, is just letting it pass and not giving it any more fuel, even fuel in the sense of rejecting it and saying I'm going to destroy it or eliminate it or burn it out. Doesn't work. So that's what you do with bad thoughts, or at least that's a 10-minute or 15-minute video version of what you do with bad thoughts. So I thought that might be useful. Maybe that's not such a bad thought. Anyway, if you want to donate to me being able to have more bad thoughts, you can go to the URL you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is where you will find links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts. Those are my main way of making a living and buying beanies, so I really appreciate your support. But as always, this is offered for free, so you don't gotta pay if you don't want to pay. We will see you next time. Have a good time all the time. Bye. Hey Ziggy, what do you do with bad thoughts? Do you even have thoughts at all? Do dogs have thoughts? I don't know. Good or bad, I don't know if you have any thoughts.